So you start to work with Ochoa, and you said that he was really like the brains of the Medellín Cartel?
I think so, yes.
Explain.
Okay, whenever my friend Mario took me to a little town called Envigado, and we went up the mountain, and we came to a little lane, and they had a gate that picks up, and they had a guard there, a couple of guards with machine guns, and went up a pretty little driveway with the bromeliads in the trees and all kind of lush vegetation. And we came to an old house. I guess the house was 200 or 300 years old. Cobblestones in the street, hitching rails out front, and men were waiting out, like in their fedoras, men waiting out for an audience. And they ushered us right in. And the inside of that house the floors was uneven, and even there was a hole in the floor, like the pretty lady says, "What's the hole?" And it was polished, so they left it on purpose. And she was as pretty a woman as I've ever seen, and she just said, "Would you like a cup of coffee?" So she ushered us right in to see Jorge Ochoa, and brought the coffee in, and he was really nice to us, welcomed us, and he had 12 telephones across a big desk. And he says, and each one of them was a different color. He said, each one of these represents a city in the United States. And when it rings, I know who it is. That's how I keep up with my business. So we shook hands and talked a while, and he asked what kind of airplanes I had and what kind of experience crossing the border. And he said, yes, they had all the cocaine that I could ever fly at $5,000 a kilo. And so I told him what kind of airplanes I had, and they was quite pleased with it. And there was even some talk of me flying in a DC-3 with 3 tons at the time over to the Caribbean, but I didn't want that. There was too many people involved. So I took the one straight from Colombia to Louisiana. And so while he was there, he said, "I want you to meet my partner." So he called her. The lady went next door, and Pablo Escobar came in, shook hands, very nice, gentle-speaking man, and about my size, and just like could have been a school teacher or whatever. And he asked the same thing Ochoa did, what kind of experience I had, and how many times I crossed the border, and what kind of airplanes I had. And he said the same thing. They had 5, all that we could ever haul, at 5,000 a kilo. So that's when I first met the two of them, and so that was who I worked for. But I was in contact with Jorge, was the one I was in contact with.
Okay, you moved 300 kilos on that first flight?
300 at the first, though, yeah.
And Barry was the pilot?
No, I flew the first 6 or 7 loads by myself. I didn't know Barry at that time.
Oh, okay, so Barry came later.
Barry came later on, and that's whenever I hired Barry. I'd made enough money. I'd got above the fog one night, and I couldn't get down. And I thought I was going to die. So I came down the glide slope at the international airport at New Orleans and sat there all night long with that load of cocaine. And so I thought, boy, that's the last time I'm going to do that. And then I hired Barry.
Well, but you continued to do these flights for the Medellín Cartel.
Yeah, but I would fly up to Belize and give it to Barry there.
Mm-hmm. Got it. So by this time, was the money just pouring in?
It was more than I could imagine.
Okay. You bought 7 farms?
Yes, I bought everything you could think of. I had an option to, and did the planning and zoning in the town now called Moreno Valley, California, 6,000 acres.
Okay. You were buying yachts, ships, more airplanes.
Most expensive gold pieces in the world.
Okay.
One of them's worth $10 million now.
Really?
Yeah, a Brasher de Bloom.
Aha. Okay, and how were you laundering this money?
It was just easy back then. And I was taking it to the Grand Cayman Island. I was hiring a jet to take it down every couple of weeks, and I would lay on the money. And the 2 pilots would fly down, and the van would back up to the jet, and we'd take it into the bank, and they'd steal as much as they could when they were counting it.
Okay. But they were laundering your money for you.
Yeah, you're putting it in the bank, yes. I guess 14% interest.